just a couple of laps ago. But it looks like we have some potential issues. I mean, on my side, Twitch is saying that we're not connected. So I'm going to have to investigate this. Sorry, folks. Cool, and we're back. So it looks like we're back streaming. Apologies for that one. Not sure what happened. Potentially an issue with either Twitch, my internet, or my PlayStation. But Femi's made the move on Ramsey. That's the key thing. Now leads the race. And we've got Ramsey just behind, keeping it within DRS range. That's the main thing. With quite a healthy battery. Cheryl Sharp now catching up, doing a great job in third. And staying within DRS range as Ramsey falls out. So what I have noticed so far in this race, Femi is acing Ascari compared to the others. More of a sort of tier 1 pace there through Ascari. Cheryl Sharp now closing right onto the back of Ramsey. Will he go full out here? Battery is looking very good. Ramsey is having to give up on battery. And Cheryl Sharp says thank you very much. But it's not over yet. Is Ramsey going to go for it? Oh, great driving there. Keeps it clean, but unfortunately doesn't quite get the undercut. The angle kind of closed off on him. He went in a bit hot, so ended up getting a worse exit. But nice wheel-to-wheel racing there. Good to see. And Cher now takes second place as he closes in on his former teammate Femi for the lead. Shep now working up to Ramsey. So Ramsey really starting to fall back. I have to say this is quite unexpected. So let's see how we're doing in terms of position changes. So Tack up 9 places now into 6th. Phenomenal drive. Otherwise everything pretty much as it stands is the same as before. Hayscran of course spinning out at Parabolica, losing places, but at least he's sorted himself out now and he's in 11th. So lap 11 is normally when the undercut opens for the medium tyre. So keep your eyes on maybe Tafur, because the other medium runners are on quite fresh rubber and they might be potentially considering maybe a medium soft, who knows? Oh, okay, and I've got a message from Suzuki. Ramsey had a really bad Ascari run. That explains why he lost time. So he sorted himself out now, but Shep is closing in. Good news for Ramsey though is he's also got DRS, so a little bit of a train forming. But this is a great battle here with these top 4. And hats off to Dookie because, you know, Dookie doesn't claim to have the quickest pace, but he's always there or thereabouts and is very consistent. Keeping it clean in 5th place. And Tack with definitely the best drive I've seen from him in a long time. Really good to see. Has to be really careful on the sausage curb. What a save. What a save there. Dutch now will be right in the back of him, but I think Tack did just enough to save that. Oh, and so Dutch there, taking a slightly wide line, but it's really tasty, this battle for 6th. You've got Baba Yaga just behind, sniffing out the opposition. Great exit through Lesmo 2 by Dutch. And that is an epic launch, using battery really, really well mastered there. And Dutch takes deservedly 6th place. Dutch from TAC Delta, great move. And sensibly as well, keeps a nice tidy line. And who's spun? Is that Mateus? Not sure. Was it Arcognito? What a shame. Someone spun, but they seem to have sorted themselves out. And we now have Cher right on the back of Ramsey. So Ramsey has got past, it looks like, but Cher then going straight back for the move. This time they're a lot closer, a lot closer. Oh, my word. Oh, not a lot of room was given there. Just enough, maybe, but Ramsey had to ride the sausage and it really messed him up. Might not be too happy about that. And Ramsey now down into 4th. Shep sensibly capitalising on the mistake. Wow. So we've got Femi now 2.7 ahead because of course these guys are battling it out and Femi's loving it. He's just cruising around at this stage as he approaches maybe a pit phase at around lap sort of 14, 15. And again, massive shout out to TAC Delta, staying in DRS range of Dutch. Nice little battle here with these three, we'll have to keep an eye on that. And Scallon, considering what happened to Scallon at the start, he's really making his way back up through the order, so hats off there. And yeah, as we kind of called out, Taffer sensibly switching onto the hards, choosing not to pit under any safety car, just keeping it simple, and 12th place is currently his prize. So now Shep's closed in on Cher, so it looks like Shep's had a little bit of an injection of pace, maybe a confidence boost, maybe his tyres are right in the window where he wants them to be. Maybe he's been conserving his tyres better than the rest of the field, but this is looking really, really promising for Shep. Definitely Shep and Tak are really impressing at the moment. And Ramsey just hanging on for dear life now in the DRS zone of Shep. So maybe he has completely burnt his tyres. I think if I was Ramsey, I would be considering an early pit onto the mediums. Ooh. And Shep having to shift down to second, just correcting a bit of overspeed into that chicane there. But stays within 1 second just. And Highscran, who we know has great pace, takes fastest lap. And well done to Chaos Druid. He's had the spin, but he's keeping it clean now in 13th. And Shep is remaining in that 1 second window, that DRS window, using a little bit of battery to close up even more. Prepare for a bit of a battery fight here. Oh, you know what? I think Shep slightly messed up his entry. Cher going absolutely on the limit, close to the track limits, but I think has done enough there to keep the position, so that was well worth it. And Ramsey has now gone fastest, so maybe he's found a bit of pace. Maybe his tyres were a little bit burnt up. Yeah, and Cher is closing in on Femi, you're right. So this pack of 3 are now starting to sort themselves out. Maybe they're not going to fight, they're just going to enter a train and try and pull themselves up to Femi. That would be the smart play. However, having said that, Ramsey, as soon as I look away for a second, looks like Shep made a mistake, potentially off of the chicane. And Ramsey is now dive bombing in the inside, and Shep just gives enough room. Ramsey sensibly backs out. That was close to a calamity there. That would have been very, very tight for a stewarding decision. And Highscran again with a second consecutive fastest lap, so he's proving that he's got the pace. Well, everyone knows he has the pace. Definitely sort of tier 1 pace, just the consistency is not always there. But I mean, I certainly can't talk much about that. I know what it's like. Down into 4th through Ascari there for Ramsey. I think the others aren't doing that. And up to 6th really late and dropping time. So I think Ramsey slightly struggling through Ascari, has to be said. And Femi is kind of holding the gap. So it's not the most consistent race pace I've seen from any of these guys. You know, we've got little peaks and troughs lap by lap. So I think they're still sort of settling. I'm really intrigued to see when is someone going to box, because as Suzuki has just mentioned at the same time as me, really, I think the pit strategy is now going to be crucial. These windows are small. Is someone going to pit a lap early and just go for it? The mediums are quicker to get up to speed, so hard to medium is an easier undercut strategy. Having said that though, I do find on this game that, especially, I don't know, maybe it's my driving style, but getting the tyres up to speed even on mediums is a bit of a nightmare, and actually overcutting can work. I think in the race I had at tier 1, I believe I overcutted with Nico John, and I think I did gain a couple of seconds doing it. But yeah, it's all about consistency. Just don't make mistakes, and really Cher in particular just needs to knuckle down, not care about what's going on behind, and close that gap up desperately. But let's see. We're definitely in the pit window now. Let's just see. So we've got Haystran getting past Tak Delta. Great move into 9th. So again, making up for his earlier mistakes, trying to challenge for maybe a top 6 position, but past Baba Yaga there is a huge gap. So 8th, sorry, looking like the best for Haystran right now. Right, so let's follow Femi through Parabolica. Let's see what he decides to do. I'm guessing he's going to react, so I reckon he stays out and waits to see what Cher does. Yep. And Cher does box, so yeah, as called, Cher's now going to go for it. Oh, and he speeds in the pit lane, and it's all over! It's all over for Cher, I think. And Shep goes in the pits without speeding, and Ramsey, I think, does the right thing, actually, going against the grain of what the two in the sandwich did. So I think right now Ramsey and Shep are looking the most promising. Femi's now got to really hammer it down, get that battery deployed, see what he can do. Right, let's follow Dutch, sorry, let's follow Cher and Shep as they exit. So they're coming out. Any traffic for them? No. So that's a good sign. Cher's fine, Shep's fine. So that has worked out well in terms of pitting. They've got a nice gap in front of them to put a hot lap in, but importantly, Ramsey and Femi, they're looking pretty fast. I'm looking at the deltas. They're not suddenly dropping time. I could see Femi and Ramsey coming out first and second here. But yeah, let's just see what the outlaps are like. But Cher's going to be absolutely gutted because at this rate, a 5-second penalty is going to make a huge difference. And Femi just avoiding track limits there through the exit of Ascari. Definitely putting the hammer down, but strangely not using ERS deployment. Clearly feels he's okay. He did have a nice buffer before, and from what I've seen, he's done enough to hold the race lead. Ramsey 4.5 behind. It's about the same as what it was, I think. Maybe slightly better, though. So, looking great. Let's just follow this. So, Femi into the box. No speeding. Ramsey into the pit lane. Not speeding. So, definitely Cher the big loser so far. Let's follow Femi into his pit box. See how he does. And just keep an eye on the mini-map on the right-hand side. Dookie speeding as well. A lot of speeding. Ramsey out. Both stopped. They seemed okay. So we've got Femi here, and let's just follow Cher. So Cher's already going down. Already going down the pit straight. That looks pretty promising, actually. Oh, my word. Let's check this out. So we've got Femi versus Cher. And Femi has just done enough, but only just enough. So the undercut actually did work out really well there. Ramsey quite considerably back. And Cher dropping down to 4th, I believe. Having, I think, just got past Ramsey before. So, yeah, how interesting. The undercut did slightly work. And Femi now is having Cher all over the back of him. And not only that, Cher's tyres are up to temperature. So Femi has to hold on desperately and just at least remember that Cher has the 5-second penalty, which must be even more infuriating now. Cher doing a sort of a Vettel Prime style hot lap, out lap and in lap. Just absolutely smashing it. So hats off to him, regardless of what the result ends up being. And Shep right on the back of Ramsey. To be honest, I think those two will keep it sensible. They know they just need to close up. But wow, 4-second gap now between second and third. So right now as it stands, Shep would finish 4th, but it depends. If Cher and Femi can drag themselves away, then Cher could potentially keep second place. But having said that, I do think the battle is about to start. Let's see how they fare through Parabolica. An interesting line from Cher, kind of cuts in to the inside, so gets a worse exit. And we've got a ghosted car, a ghosted Aston that is giving room. That's nice to see. And Femi is a sitting duck. Absolute sitting duck here. Not sure there's much he can do. Femi right down the inside. And is he just going to hang it out to the right? Yes, he is. Yeah, simple move. And Femi telegraphs it well. Oh, Femi does telegraph it well, but I think then Cher messes up the exit, because certainly Femi did the right thing. He cut wide, got a nice launch, but I think Cher spun up his wheels, and now he has completely wasted a load of battery. Femi is sensibly stuck on 70%. So, wow, this race is ebbing and flowing. Quite a lot of mistakes, it has to be said. And another mistake there from Cher, just running a little bit wide, losing maybe a second from that. So he's going to have to spend at least 1 or 2 laps just to get back into ERS range. And he's just running out of time here, running out of laps to do what he needs to do to secure the win. I have to say, it really is Femi's race to lose now. And Shep really battling out with Ramsey, trying to break the 1-second window, the DRS zone window, but can't quite do so. And Dookie with strong race pace, but again, another one that's really kind of lost out because of a 5-second speeding penalty. Looks like he'll currently drop down to 7th place, maybe 8th later on, based on what's happened. But otherwise, pretty clean racing. Only one driver has exceeded track limits 3 times, so big hats off to Tier 2 for that. Yeah, I think definitely some angry driving from Cher, but 7 laps to go. Definitely still a winnable race. You know, Femi, not one to make mistakes, I have to say. Very consistent, very defensive. Definitely this is the sort of place you would back him in, but anything can happen. And Ramsey now right on the back of Shep. Very aggressive through the chicane, but Shep taking probably more of a similar line to me, just focusing on the exit. Wow, Ramsey really has closed in. So again, it's all about racecraft. Are these two actually going to fight and lose time? Because if so, the best they're going to probably get is 3rd. Or are they looking at Cher's penalty and they're thinking, we drag ourselves up and we both gained a place, and then we fight it out at the end? Just, yeah, hard to tell. Hard to tell what's going on here. And despite the colours being so similar, I think we've got a Williams, an AlphaTauri, a Red Bull and an Alpine. So these are in fact all 4 different teams, 3 of which being sort of blue coloured. Yeah, I think Cher knows that this is a championship he can win. I really do think Cher and Ramsey are the favourites. So I think Mitchell. Oh, I'm running wide there, Ramsey, through Parabolica again. And Shep, I think, just avoiding track limits by the skin of his teeth. So both making mistakes, but at different sections of Parabolica there. And Cher is now really just sustaining with Femi. He's not really gaining. Maybe the tyres are in a bit of trouble. Hard to tell. So yeah, right now Femi is absolutely loving it. And as it stands, Cher will be finishing 4th place. Ramsey with another great exit out of the chicane though. Always gains time in Sector 1 every lap. And then seems to lose it all in Sector 3. So if Shep can just be aware of that and be defensive, he should be okay. I don't know, I mean, some comments saying that, you know, Cher will finish at a worst 3rd, but I don't know, if Shep and Ramsey keep it as clean as they are, it could well be that Ramsey gets the final podium position. And not to forget the other things going on, so I think Mateus and Tafur having a battle, and now Hayskran getting through, so this battle for 10th place really hotting up. And what's Tafur going to do? He's going to sensibly concede. Nice line from Hayskran. And he's closing in on the McLaren, who had quite a poor start, but has raced really well otherwise. And what's that? So we got Tafur getting back past Hayskran, who spun through Leslo 1 at exit off. Really common through both the Tier 1 and Tier 2 race. The Leslos have proven to be very hard corners to navigate today. And Dutch and Dookie doing so well. I mean, Dutch knows if he just keeps on the back of Dookie, he will get 5th place because of the 5-second speeding penalty. And Ramsey again, every lap, honestly, you could replay these laps and just cut them back in time after time, because Ramsey closes up Sector 1, bit of impatience there maybe, but he just can't quite do it. And I think sometimes diving in so hard in the entrance of the chicane is hurting his exit, and he needs to be hot on the hills here. He needs to be hot, Leslo 2, get on that curb, get a great exit like he has just done now, just like he's done now to be fair, open up that wing, hopefully with some battery, and take the place. I think Shep has decided to conserve battery and just give it up, but hopefully for Ascari there's no funny business. Yeah, Ramsey gets past, so that's exactly what Ramsey needed to do the whole time. Get that exit through the Leslos and get past Shep. Let's see what he can do. Let's see if he can close in on Cher. Cher dropping massively on Femi, which I have to say I'm shocked by, because I would have thought he'd be pushing like crazy due to the 5 seconds. Right now it's looking like 4th is his only outcome. And let's just follow Femi for a little bit. So Femi leading the race, 2.8 up. I have to say, the best drive I've seen from Femi in PRL. Not from like a racecraft perspective, but just from a race strategy perspective of just being consistent, not doing anything silly, especially with the stress of the pit lanes. You know, he did the right thing there, just pitting a lap later, holding it out and not making any mistakes. So it's really good to see. And I have seen some really good defensive driving from Femi over the course of the last season. So right now it looks like Tafur just keeping DRS range, otherwise quite big gaps, it has to be said, throughout the rest of the field, and Dutch and Dookie kind of keeping that train going. So really it's a question of, can Cher close up, or at least try and gain 1 position through the penalty? It looks like the answer is no. Can Ramsey close up? Potentially. And then Shep, I assume, is just going to want to get dragged all the way through into 3rd place behind Ramsey. Now, a safety car will be really interesting at this stage. So we're now approaching lap 24 of 27. It's the Performance Racing League, it's Tier 2, Round 2. We're at Monza in Italy, and it's Lucas H, your commentator. And Shep with the fastest lap, so really closing in. Although the gap is pretty much the same as before, so these two must be almost matching themselves, which is great. That's exactly what you want in a train when you're trying to catch a car ahead. So Cher really at risk of being swallowed up here. And Dutch just lifting off a little bit, just keeping that gap, not putting any pressure on. Clearly quite confident that Baba Yaga won't catch up in time. Probably a sensible move, it has to be said from Dutch. So good racing. Ooh, slightly wide from Shep there, but avoids the grass. Drops only a 10th. Great driving there. It's been a really intriguing race. There has been some sort of lulls, and certainly a lot of trains, as you do often find at Monza, but the main thing is these top 4 have served up quite a strategic race. And certainly for the championship standings, having Femi win the race with Ramsey 3rd and Cher with another 2nd is really going to hot things up, so those 3 will basically be on identical points. And Shep will be probably 3rd or 4th at the end, just really keeping it consistent. So those top 4 will be very, very close on points. So potentially setting the stage for a 4-way shootout already, certainly in the opening part of this season. And any other movement, we've got Dutch again just staying close to Dookie. I think it really is just a case of following these guys and watching for either a bit of bravery or a mistake. And you can see that. So yeah, Ramsey there, nice attack into the curbs, really going for it, trying to close up. I think he's starting to improve his pace through the Leslos, but always seems to have a bit of understeer, I've noticed, compared to the other drivers. Maybe it's a setup thing, because I noticed in my race I was catching almost everyone through the Leslos. So maybe there is a bit of a thing going on there. Full commit there for Ascari, absolutely great. Nice early shift to 6 to keep the stability. Slightly late on the throttle, but for a race pace on medium tyres, it's not bad. Cher though, just about matching him. But key thing is, Ramsey and Shep both in DRS. So there is no escape for Cher at all. And he must be pretty frustrated. But nonetheless, when you finish 2nd at the first race, your home race so to speak, then... actually I don't know if it is his home race to be fair, but if you finish 2nd at Silverstone and you get a 4th place at Monza, that's not bad. You're certainly a challenger. Ramsey really closing up. Does really well through that chicane. Quite an interesting line. Shep falling out of DRS because of the perfect line from Ramsey there. And Ramsey looking really hot. Oh wow, going for a late move. Unexpected. Both of these drivers may be a little bit more impatient, or slightly more impatient than I was expecting. Not in a bad way, just it's not normally their style. So only 2 laps to go here around Monza in the Performance Racing League Tier 2. And Femi has driven an absolute masterclass of a race, leading by 2.5 seconds now, no penalties, keeping it very clean. I've not seen any scary moments from him at all, and handled the pressure of the pits really well. And Shep has closed in on Ramsey, so after everything we said about trying to close up on Cher and maybe challenging, I think Shep's had enough. He's going to dive down the inside and Ramsey closes the door. Maybe Shep understeers. Really hard to say if that's a racing incident. Or maybe Ramsey closing the door. But what, that was very unnecessary, I would say, purely from a commentary point of view. Because Cher has just been gifted he's been gifted 2 places. We were talking about racecraft, we were talking about strategy, about how important these points are to really establish yourself in the season, and now Cher is going to be absolutely loving it, because really he's been redeemed for what was quite a careless mistake. Again, not trying to sound negative at all, just stating facts here, but a really positive outcome for Cher, because 2nd place all but guaranteed. As for Shep, I suppose Shep had less to lose in the sense of probably was going to finish 3rd if he stayed behind Ramsey, and will now finish 3rd anyway. Of course, that shouldn't bias any decisions, because just because that could be the case doesn't mean that's why that happened. But certainly that's going to need a review later on. Quite hard to tell. At the end of the day, Parabolica, it's a high-speed corner. All it takes is a car to really only give you one thin line, and then for the overtaking car on the inside to understeer just slightly, which it may have looked like, and well, bad things happen. Certainly an interesting move when there's DRS. Normally drivers elect to keep it close behind in Parabolica, maximise the exit and make the move down the main straight. So a few question marks, has to be said. So Tier 2 now hotting up, some interesting strategy calls. And congratulations Femi, amongst it all, a complete masterclass, I really mean that. A perfect race, I would say. And absolutely my driver of the day as well. Takes the race win, fantastic performance, hats off. Cher in second place. Redeemed really for the earlier mistake, must be breathing a massive sigh of relief. Shep takes home third in the Red Bull, and Ramsey a disappointed fourth. Dookie getting pegged to the post by Baba Yaga. So after everything we said, Baba Yaga really put his foot down, got ahead, so congrats Baba Yaga with fifth. Dutch takes home sixth. Dookie, the other Canadian, in seventh in the Alpha. Tack, great performance. Excuse me, what a great performance. Takes home 8th place. Mateus just coming around Parabolica now, so we've caught up with the grid. Let's just have a little look at the positions gained. So Mateus bringing it home 9th. A good recovery, it has to be said. Well done to him. Well done indeed. And Tafur just rounding off into 10th with penalties. So let's see how these penalties influence things. We've got Tafur in 10th. Disgruntled coming back. Takes 11th. And now we've got Arcognito and Scallon fighting it out. Arcognito with no battery. Is there a penalty difference? Let's find out. As we make our way to the line, it's really close. And it looks like no change there. So Scallon just behind Arcognito. And the rest DNFing, I believe, Vinny Sips and the like, from some shenanigans at the first chicane and at Ascari. So that rounds off a very interesting race. Quite a mistake-prone race, it has to be said. But certainly it's only the second race of the season. And it's really hotting up now here at PRL. I hope you enjoyed it. So if there's anything you saw that interested you, maybe any changes you want in the commentary or things you want to see. But yeah, really impressive. Well done indeed to Femi Thrustmaster. What a win. Let's just watch the podium celebration, then we'll go through the grid order and we'll try to invite in. We normally go for the winner and driver of the day, and if they're the same, we normally go for the winner and second place. So I'm going to try and invite to the lobby Femi and Cher. Hopefully they are aware of this. Let's see what we can do. And I'm going to make sure I also get a chance to look at the incidents for the stewards. Femi and got to go all the way down Cher. So I've invited them both. Let's see if they can join for a little discussion. But in the meantime, let's just round out your grid finishing order for today. So Femi takes the lead. Thanks. Just hold up Femi for 2 seconds. I'm just going to run through the order and then we're going to go through the race. So Femi takes a fantastic win in first place in the Williams. Flawless race. Cher in second. Kind of redeemed there at the end. Shep in third. Ramsey fourth. Baba Yaga in the Assen. A great result for him in fifth. Probably the best I've seen. Dutch in sixth. Dookie takes seventh. Tack eighth. Mateus, I think, with his debut and quite a bad mistake at the start, recovering to ninth. Tafur 10th. That might be the best finish I've seen for him. So another great performance. Disgruntled 11th. Arcognito with another strong finish in 12th. Another newbie, Scallon in 13th. Heitzgran 14th. Chaos 15th. Vinny 16th with the unfortunate DNF. Corby as well in 17th with an incident at Ascari. And Northern, I think, joining him in the wall there in 18th. And that rounds off your grid and your Tier 2 race today at Monza. That was a mouthful. So joined alongside with some static, it has to be said, is Femi and Cher, who finished first and second. So yeah, hats off Femi, great race. We watched a lot of your onboard. You did really well. How were you feeling through the pit phase when you were coming out of the pits?
I'm sorry. Before Femi, really sorry. Just no. Before you say anything, because last time we did an interview, you weren't being broadcasted. So I just want to make sure that you got your settings sorted. Otherwise, no one's going to hear a word that comes out of your mouth. Are you going to settings?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It's in the settings.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Yeah. I
think you go party. Voice chat settings. Share your voice. Share your voice. Yes, it. Voice chat settings. Share your voice. Allow. Yeah. Third one down. There you
Theo.
go. Right, let's just test.
He's back.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello,
Yeah,
hello,
you're in,
hello.
mate. You're in. So let's just
Yeah.
run through the question again.
Right, I'll shut up now.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Well, yeah, congrats on the race win. That was a great drive. I would say almost flawless, to be honest, having watched most of you on board throughout that race. A really good battle from first to fourth. But how are you feeling coming out of the pits there when you saw Cher and the light closing in on you? Femi, are you there? Do I have to ask it a third time?
Femi, have you muted yourself or something? One setting changed, another one's gone.
It's out of the stream.
The stream's not getting edited. Well,
He's going to get humiliated.
Whilst Femi...
Do you know what,
if
Cher?
you're
Yeah,
trying to fix
please, give your perspective.
Well, so I would say, for me, did not expect that in lap. I was surprised that no one pitted the lap before, because my original
Hello,
plan
hello.
was to pat. Oh, Femi's back.
Yay!
Femi's back.
Wait, your turn now, Femi. Cher's cut in.
Oh, fuck's sake.
So yeah, I was supposed to pit the lap before I did, and I was really surprised that no one else pitted.
Yeah.
And so then when I did, so when I did pit, so that's Femi with the static. I was like 2.5 seconds behind Femi, so I did not anticipate that I was going to be that close, because then I was 4 seconds ahead of Shep, and I was 4 ahead of Ramsey.
Yeah,
I don't know. I can only assume that the new mediums had a huge kind of the hards had a massive drop off, because I used some battery, but I didn't feel like I used enough to get there, so I was very surprised.
I agree with that. I think from our perspective, Suzuki was following it a lot as well on the stream. It looked like your in-lap and out-lap were really rapid because they didn't drop a lot of pace. I was watching Femi's deltas. He was only like a couple of tenths down. So I think it was all from good pace on your side. Maybe you braked slightly later into the pit box as well, which of course you did get a 5-second penalty for, which we'll go on to.
I was so angry when that happened.
Yeah, we were seeing, like, especially going through the chicane afterwards, not anger so much, but definitely frustration in the driving, just realising. And at that point, I mean, when you watched it back, maybe the stream, I was calling out that Femi and Ramsey were potentially going to take first and second out of the pit phase, and you completely blew our minds with your in-lap and out-lap. And then with the penalty, we were thinking, well, you're definitely going to finish fourth because Shep and Ramsey are just going to drive side by side with DRS in a train and just guarantee it. But just so I don't know if you saw, but actually Shep made a late move down into Parabolica, a good move, and I think some things happened, not sure exactly what happened there, and they both span out, and that's how you got your second place. So I guess it worked out in the end.
I saw that there was some sort of incident, because the last 3 or 4 laps I'd resigned myself to fourth. I was like, they're much quicker than me. They're gaining half a second a lap. They're probably a good chance they might ever take me on track. So at that point I was like, I'm fourth, that's fine. So the biggest thing in my head was just if Ramsey was going to go for the move, because I knew Ramsey is ahead of me in the championship and Shep's behind. I was thinking, let me battle Ramsey to hopefully just keep it interesting between the three of us, because ideally if I can help Shep to overtake Ramsey, that might be beneficial for me in the long run. But thankfully I didn't have to worry about that, because
maybe a report for that, hard to say, but yeah, nonetheless for you it's absolutely fantastic, especially given, as you say, Ramsey won the first race, so he is kind of your hot competition. I think right now it is shaping up into a bit of a 4-way battle actually with the top 4 that we had today. So I'm hoping it's going to be a really good season. But yeah, thanks a lot for taking part there and joining. Let me see, is Femi, are you back? Are you there?
Am I in now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yay.
And can I just also say as well, Lucas Age, I know you're back. I know you had some technical issues in quali, so I genuinely think if you didn't have those technical issues and you were able to get a second lap in, you probably were going to get pole because you were there. So thoroughly deserved. None of us could catch you. So well done.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Well said. And yeah, also interesting, I didn't know about the issues with the connectivity, because we were following you a lot, Febby, in qualifying, and we were wondering why you kept aborting on sector 1.
Something was going wrong with my wheel, where every time it kept pausing, and it kept kind of or the wheel would go wide, and I had to basically get in the pits to unplug it and plug it back in again, and it just wasn't very happy. Thankfully there was nothing happened in the race, but yeah, qualifying I put in my banker, and after that it was just playing up. So
good banker.
I didn't it actually worked out right in the end. Yeah, but because every other time I went out on to put my lap in, it was some point pause it, and so I lost so much time. So yeah, I ended up having to, not on my own doing, but abort most of my qualifying laps. So yeah, it all worked out in the end, which is what matters. So
Yeah, so just briefly, what was your perspective on the pit strategy? So when you came out and you see suddenly Cher right behind you, how are you sort of feeling?
Well, I was going to pit a few laps later, but then I saw him pit, so I thought, sod it, go in. And I knew he had a 5-second penalty, so I was very cautious in the pits. But to obviously, there was like 1.5 seconds, I think he gained, which was an insane amount of time. So, yeah, I was a little bit, but what my whole thinking was, it's fine, because let him get ahead, because 5 seconds, and just let him tow me along. But I seem to just kind of slowly eke more time away, and so it worked. But I was kind of quite conscious of, do you know what? Don't fight too hard. Let him take me, and just let him drag me along, and kind of keep me. I didn't realise I was that much faster than them. That was a bit of a surprise to me, and not in a kind of smug way. I really didn't think I'd be that much quicker. So that was a really nice surprise that I kind of ended up just slowly eking that gap out again, and it was actually pretty comfortable, which was quite nice. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think it should hopefully set you up really well now going into round 3, because I think some people were a little bit worried maybe that Cher and Ramsey could run away already from the first event. So I think it was really good to see that both you and Shep were matching or exceeding the pace.
I really expect Shep to be up there. Always expect Shep to be there. I truly came into the season thinking I'd be the 4th, 5th quickest. So to win, because I won in Abu Dhabi last season, but that was quite me and Cher kind of took it a little bit easy last time. So to win one by pure pace alone is actually quite satisfying, really. So yeah, no, I'm really happy with that. That was a nice result, and it gives me confidence the rest of the season. So.
Well, yeah, well done. I definitely echo what Cher said. It was a great drive. I think it's the best drive I've seen from you from like a race perspective. It wasn't,
Thank you.
I didn't see as much defensive amazingness as I've seen, but that's because you were driving too well to need to do it. So yeah, it's really, really good. Do either of you know where we're heading next, just to close off?
Spa, I believe.
Spa. So cool. So looks like we'll be joining both you and everyone else from Tier 2 next Sunday at the same time at Spa. So it's round 3. So do stay tuned, and thanks a lot to Femi and Cher for joining us today on stream. And yeah, we wish
you commentating, Lucas A as well. Thank you very much for commentating.
Yeah, thank you.
Most welcome, mate. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good week, and we'll see you soon.
See you later.